Okay, everybody. Today we're going to go over basically how to design or how to imagine your app. We kind of went out of order, which I have a tendency to do because I like for you to see what you're going to have to work with before you start imagining what you want to happen. That way, you know the limitations and what the software and the websites that help you build these apps are actually capable of doing. But now we need to take a step back to the very beginning and start going through the steps of how to plan these applications. So in Canvas, you will have this worksheet, creating an app. So the first thing, and I'm sure you've had project planning classes in high school and through other instructors and whatnot, but the first thing you have to do is set your goal. What is the underlying goal of your app? What exactly do you want it to do? Now, we've talked about different ideas that people have had. Like one student I had one time really liked to fish, and he thought, he'd go around and he'd find all these small ponds, and he thought, how cool would it be if I knew what kind of fish were in here and how much action that other people who found these ponds have had. And his idea was to make an app that would work off of GPS, and then when you got on the app, you could look at the different locations where people have basically told their stories, and you could see, like, fish caught in 4 hours, 10 or whatever, and that would give them an idea of how well stocked the pond was, and how fished out it was. Another idea was we talked about security and getting children out of school. We talked about how the principal will require a note from the parent if you're picking up their child for them, but anybody could have wrote that note. So if the parent actually had an app on their phone, they could authorize that the child be picked up by, put the person's name that's picking them up, and then it would be protected by a PIN code so that nobody could authorize that child being picked up except the parent, and they would have the PIN number so that it would be secure, and you couldn't just write a note to pick up somebody else's kid, or just call in and claim you're the parent, because we've all been in high school once. We've all written our own notes, and we've all called in and posed as parents. So that app would fix that problem. But basically, think about a problem that you've had, or something that could be made easier for you. Maybe you get lost easy. I mean, we have GPS already, but are there different apps? Maybe you live out in the country, and like in my situation, some of the roads are terrible. I drove down one road and just all of a sudden it was gone. It slid out, and they did nothing about it but set up a couple of orange cones. An app that would tell you, you could go on your app and be like, hey, this road is caved in and I had to back a half a mile uphill to find a turnaround spot. Something like that might be useful. So whatever you can think of a problem in your life or a challenge in your life that could be made easier with an app. Resources that apps can use, they can use GPS. Oh my goodness, where do you even begin with that? Basically anything that's available on your phone, the app can access. The voice recorder, basically the microphone, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The microphone, the camera. So just think of something and put it here. How will you make your app appeal to users? For this, try to think about the appearance of the app. First off, you want it to be easy to use. You don't want it to be real complex. You want it, to guide your users through things step by step. They shouldn't have to look around and try to figure it out. The color schemes are very important. Let me think. This is mobile web apps. I'm not sure how many of you have seen, have had me in the class where we went over color psychology, but I will put that YouTube video, I will link that YouTube video on color psychology into the Canvas module, and you should watch that before you decide how your color scheme of your app should look. Like if this is an app for kids, you'd want to use bright primary colors, red, blue, green, yellow. If this is an app for maybe finding historical movies, maybe you might want to use a little more black and white, and maybe make it a little bit more grayscale so it just has that feel to it. If you want the app to seem authoritative, a lot of red and black or yellow and black would be appropriate. But I will link that video, watch that, and that'll go into deeper explanation, and you can pick out your color scheme, how big you want your buttons to be, so on and so forth. Okay, what are you setting out to do? What's the problem you want to help people solve with your app. Okay, that kind of goes along with number one. You're kind of almost repeating your goal there, but try to state how you're going to do it. This is stating what you're going to do. Maybe I should reword this. Well, just go off of what I'm saying. Just go into a deeper explanation of what your goal is. Here's my goal, and here's how I'm going to do it. The GPS is going to link to the pond, or to my geographic area when I'm at my pond, and then it'll prompt me how many fish did you catch, how many hours were you there, what time of day it was, what kind of fish were they. And there you go. And then that information will be put into a database where other people can access it. Why would people want to use your app instead of one of your competitors? How does it set itself apart? That's something you really have to think about. If there's another fishing app out there, maybe they're lacking what kind of fish it is. If there's another security app to pick kids up from school, maybe they're missing some pertinent piece of information, or maybe the app is set up so that only one of the parents can use it. So when you do your research on the other apps, which is going to be here, that should kind of give you some ideas. You may want to start with this. Look at what other people are doing, and then maybe you can see, give you ideas about, like, hey, that's a great idea, but I could do this better, and that'll help you answer some of these questions. Where will you take your ideas, and how will you get them working within your app? Oh wait, I'm sorry. These ones are first. How will your app make money? Affiliate marketing, advertising, etc. Okay, the app for picking your kids up from school. When you go into that app, what would be a great thing to advertise? I mean, they got kids. Maybe an app, or maybe a link that leads them to a site, nostalgic toys, and it reminds them of toys from when they were kids that you can still buy. I do that for my own daughter, like toys that I remember being really fun but just aren't common anymore. Links to discounted children's clothing. Really, links to school supplies. It's an app to pick your kid up from school. Links to school supplies. So your target audience in that situation would be the parents of children, basically parents of young children. If it was the fishing app, there would be people who enjoy nature. So for the let me go into a little bit more detail. If your target audience is people who enjoy nature, your color scheme, you'd want to use green, maybe a little bit of brown, colors of nature, sky blue, things like that, because that appeals to them. If your target audience is parents of children, remember that this is a security app. It's not necessarily to advertise to the children. The children will never be on it. This is to make the parents feel safe. Blue, the color blue, has a tendency to imply trust. If someone is dressed in blue, they tend to come off as being more trustworthy. That's why I wear blue all the time. I've got to trick everybody. I'm just kidding. But it's my favorite color anyhow. But remember that. Who is your target audience? The parents of children, people who enjoy wildlife, people who are into cars, people who are into animals. There's another idea for an app. There's a lot of animals out there that need to be adopted, and they can't find homes for them. Maybe if somebody created an app. Where will you take your ideas, and how will you get them working within your app? That's kind of recapping a bunch of what we've already said. Where will you take your ideas? So, okay, my goal is to make fishing easier. How will you get them working within your app? You just explain what you've explained before. You're kind of giving an overview of all the most important sentences of your previous answers. Okay, now, explore other apps similar to your idea. List at least 2 that resemble your, let's reword that. Resemble what you are imagining. I butchered that, didn't I? So that's all you're doing. Find 2 other apps that are similar. Now, what's something that they're not doing? Look at their app, think about it, and it's like, whoa, wait, if we just added this, that's the wrong URL. My original plan in life was to become a teacher of English and literature, but I was dissuaded by my guidance counselor. List at least 1 idea that you would use to make your app better than others. it's a hard thing to explain without looking at their app. Just look at it and think, okay, this could be better. The buttons are tiny. I don't know. Just whatever you see on your competition's app. So this will get you started and really thinking about what you want to do. Because eventually, I would like to actually create the app if we can manage to do it without spending a bunch of money. So go ahead and fill this out. You may have to click Enable Editing. It'll pop up right here. It's not, you just click it and it'll let you fill in all your answers, and then you can just save it and go ahead and put it in the Dropbox for rating. It'll be worth let me see, just however many questions there are, I guess. I'll just make it worth 10 points, and let me know if you have any questions.